Welcome back to Automation Campaign. This time I'm on episode number 15 and my main goal, as I've said in the last episode, is to make a luxury car. The core component to this is our brand new inline 6 engine, which I prototyped, and now I have to develop into a production engine. The top trim of the car will have the 3.6 liter variant. I'll just go to normal VVT since it's easier to produce for the start, and I'll add a lot of quality in the fuel system because it matters a lot here. Same for the top end, and maybe +1 in the bottom end. I'm also adding a double muffler setup on the exhaust so it gets really quiet. At 254 horsepower is a very solid number. I can even downtune it a bit. Yeah, 250, nice round number. Now I'll make a 3-liter version for the lower trims of the car and maybe to put in a pickup. I've also gotten rid of some balancing mass because the engine is already smoother and being lighter is better overall. And having 206 horsepower like out of this sounds pretty nice. I can even use less balancing mass. Let's see how much the engineering is going to take. 20 months it says here. It's definitely going to be a very reliable engine from the start. The most suitable body I found is this one. It may be a bit shorter than other luxury cars, but then I'd only have this alternative, and I think I'll use this later, but it's too modern to work with something like this now. I'll actually go for partial aluminium to save a bit on weight and to add prestige. Corrosion resistant steel because it's the most corrosion resistant thing out there. Double wishbone, and now I can use multi-link on the rear. I'll first do the so-called base model of this and then do the luxury model. And how nice, now I can have a 5-speed transmission. Still going with the limited slip differential for that extra drivability. I think 15 inches should be alright for this time period. Wheels didn't get that big. And now vented brakes because this could do some high-speed highway driving. I'll use traction control in this and advanced safety. And I can also add in some weight here. This optimized weight slider, what it does is if you put it to heavier, it makes the materials in the interior more quality, tougher, and also adds insulation. And if you make it lighter, it makes the panels a bit flimsier on the inside, but again, it's lighter. And I'm not going to go for these fancy kinds of suspension because reliability is key, and I'm trying to get the best car while using the least tech for starters. Also adding some body quality to prevent rust. I know it does that. Adds a bit of weight but makes everything more aerodynamic. That's pretty good. I think it doesn't have that much premium desirability because I didn't do the engineering yet, and doing that usually gives more reliability. So all that's left to do, at least for the base trim, is to design it. While tweaking the car, I found that it would be better to just use the luxury entertainment because it just adds zero point 0.1 months of research, and the higher trim of this will also use it, so it's better to share the same parts. As for the design, this is how it looks. If it were released in 1995, it would be quite modern, but I think it's going to be more like 1997, since I will have to research the luxury interior with which I have zero familiarity. The more luxurious trim will get the 3.6-liter engine, and to really set it apart, it will get its own name, sort of like a half model. It will be called Magistrato Magistrate. So the changes I will make is using a luxury interior, only putting 2 seats in the back, and going for magnesium wheels for that extra bit of prestige. I'll also have to do the emissions on this variant of the engine. Running a linear fuel map should otherwise help, and somehow I'm failing emissions with this. Uh, 11 liters per 100 kilometers. I think it's better than other luxury cars, so should be alright. In the end, I've decided to call this stream Regale because the name is shorter and fits better on a badge. This was actually the main reason. As for the cosmetic changes, there are some new chrome trim pieces and new wheels, but the real luxury, of course, is still on the inside. I could reduce some automation because I'm using premium and luxury parts anyways, and also the process could go down. "49 months seems like a good target for this. And I forgot to mention that I've also changed the name of the engine to have the number of cylinders before the letter, because at the point I couldn't really distinguish between them. So the I series is now 6i because it's a 6-cylinder. For the engine factory, I could make a large plot, since this inline 6 engine will also be used in trucks, but for now I may do just a small factory, since I'm not going to be making that many luxury cars. So something like small 3. If I check the prices, the luxury market is actually very competitive, with an average price of 38k and 31k, 32k for the premium. And if I'm spending this much, I don't know if I should get these add-ons. Yes, QA testing would be good, because there's a big slowdown when you make a new car with quality testing. And wow, this is actually a very big investment. I'm spending a lot on research, but I am swimming in money right now, and this should be good to improve our company image and to sell into new markets, because right now I'm not selling that much into luxury. And these should release at the end of 1996, so that's a goal I had, to not go into 1997. One more thing I will do before unpausing the game is invest in marketing, because again I have money and right now awareness isn't that great. Now all of the cars from the last episode have been engineered and are now in production, and let's look at the numbers here. Yeah, quite good. I'm selling, I think, a lot more cargo van than before. Passenger versions of the minivan are also doing well. The new Yokato is very strong. Koala is doing about the same numbers, I think. The Dolcevita LP is also selling better than before, I think. Same for the Dolcevita SP, the sports car. Adding in the lower trim really helped bring some sales, because otherwise we would have had about 200 less sales. And when making cars in such a small factory, it's very useful. About the Lucha, the sales are still pretty low, unfortunately. I just have 2,000 cars made this month because the pre-orders piled up. And the pickup is doing just as well as before, I suppose. We begin the test drive on a very beautiful day in Friuli, totally not Italy. Now, the engine doesn't sound that wild, but it's not his job to do that in a luxury car. Oops, almost uh, hit the wall in reverse. Forgot this was an automatic. Starting off, starts really well because it obviously has a lot of torque from that extra displacement. Let's see how it does in a hill start. Very well, not even a sweat. And even with not that much throttle, it just goes, it gets up to speed. It is a bit hard to notice the speed in this, which, you know, luxury cars tend to do that, especially if they're made for cruising on the highway. Oh, 140 already. Oh, almost crashed there. That's what I was talking about. You just forget about the speed since it's so smooth, makes no noise. But now I'll test how it does on the highway. Full throttle. I'm still keeping it in comfort mode to see how even the slowest shifts do. The transmission responds well, shift when it needs to. Having 5 gears also helps, I think. Oh, it's got some grip. It's got very good grip, because other earlier cars in automation I've done with not that much technology don't grip that well. The suspension setup is also very good on this. You still get some sharp handling, although the brakes could be a bit better. Let's just take this exit illegally. As for this speed, we may need better brakes because it struggled, or maybe it's the suspension being slightly floaty. But yeah, watch your speed when driving this. Here on some winding roads, it does well if you do a reasonable speed. Of course, it's not a sports car, so it doesn't like to get pushed to the limit that much. Let's do 90. If it can take this turn at 80 or 90, I don't think so. This is definitely a great highway cruiser. Maybe needs a bit better brakes next time, but take it easy on tight turns. Take it like it's a normal car and not a sports car, despite the power it has. Because at this point in time, 250 horsepower is still quite a lot, and the torque makes the acceleration seamless. Almost 140 already. As I stop here at this gas station, I'd like to thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next episode because I've got some pretty big plans. It's going to be a lot of cars that need work on them. And have a nice day.